Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today what I want to talk about when it comes to fat acceptance TikTok is actually fat acceptance TikTok's favorite gay. Now, this person has admittedly stated on his channel that he is mentally ill. And I just want to acknowledge that. I'm not necessarily trying to hate on him for that, but I think it's really important for fat people in general to consider the fact that a lot of these people in this movement are mentally ill. I also just want to say that there are a lot of fat acceptance women around, and I wanted to try to even the scales a bit, and so I found a guy. I found one, y'all.
Feeding your children fast food is basically child abuse. That is a remarkably classist take. How can you justify feeding them that poison? Do you know what the alternative is for most people who regularly eat fast food? To not be lazy and to cook at home. No, it is to not feed their kids or not feed their kids enough. Healthy food is expensive. Oh.
So this whole thing is already extremely stupid. I have struggled with finances terribly over the past couple years for obvious reasons, for global reasons, things that are happening in the world. Fast food is actually incredibly expensive now. So this argument is actually really stupid from the get-go. Now, when it comes to food being expensive or not, food in general is expensive at this time. And what frustrates me is a lot of times people like this, you can tell that they aren't that poor because going to McDonald's, for example, is drastically more expensive than buying rice at the store.
Come on, I've been to a grocery store. Fruits and vegetables aren't that expensive. If you calculate price per calorie of broccoli versus price per calorie of a chicken nugget, you are getting far more calories for much less money in a fast food meal than you would cooking at home.
So once again, this is patently false. If you were to go to Walmart, buy bags of rice, that's going to be drastically cheaper per calorie. Or even if you're going to buy eggs used to be somewhat affordable. Now they're really expensive. But as far as protein, even just buying actual meat, if you get it more so in bulk, it's actually a lot less over time. Now I understand that it's challenging to buy something in bulk, but at Walmart, the one that I go to, I could get a 32 pack of patties for $22 or something. That's a lot for that much money. I don't know how high quality it is, but even if I was to get just a 12 pack, that's $12. So that's $12 for 3 pounds of meat. That's not that bad. That's $4 a pound. You combine it with rice. If you try to do beans or something that's even cheaper, bananas are incredibly cheap. He is completely wrong. He's never been poor. Period. Now, what I will say is people can have that opinion that taking somebody to fast food is child abuse. I think that it is judgy just because a lot of people don't have education. A lot of people don't understand what's actually in the fast food that's harmful, which I've talked about many times on this channel, which is the seed oils, the hydrogenated soybean oil in the fries. These kind of fats are extremely toxic, and they are in all fast food chains. The meat is very, very low quality, and it is not ideal. And when you combine it with the actual cost these days, it's not that cheap to go. So this argument is stupid. You've never been poor, William.
Let me get this straight. In the name of people who are struggling financially, you're defending capitalistic organizations that regularly participate in wage theft and unethical food practices. So those corporations are evil, and I'm not defending them, but I am defending the people who are consumers of their food because they need it to survive. Stop demoralizing people who are just trying to keep their families alive.
It doesn't really make much sense if you're saying, I'm not defending the corporations, I'm defending the customers who buy their food. Well, it's the same difference. It's basically a McDonald's commercial, point blank, period. This person, I'm starting to see a lot of the sort of logical inconsistencies, a lot of the sort of mental illness that he claims to have. I can see it plain as day. This stuff is crazy. On one hand, you're against capitalism. On the other hand, you are shilling for McDonald's. The cognitive dissonance is extremely strong. Let's see what else he's got.
Your videos are so one-sided. Oh no, my eating disorder recovery videos are one-sided? Yeah, they only tell one side of the story. Yeah, you know why? Because the other side of the story is encouraging people to have an active eating disorder.
So I think what a lot of these people do not understand that you have different kinds of eating disorders. There's the one where you're not eating at all. There's the one where you're eating a lot and then throwing up or purging in some other way. And then there's the one where you're way overeating. Now, this person, I don't think that he acknowledges that the binging side of eating disorder exists. He's not seeing it at all. And it's really, really interesting. So when people are telling him you're one-sided, I would say quite literally your arguments, your worldview is one-sided. You are only seeing the overly restrictive ED as an ED. There are other types of ED. And I would just say you are invalidating my experience, William, to speak in your language. You're not taking into account my experience as a fat person or as a person who lives in a fat body.
But you tell people not to diet. Yeah, because diets don't work and they are one of the highest risk factors for developing an eating disorder. They're always a bad idea.
Now, I think what this person doesn't understand is that there is a difference between fad dieting or doing diets that are extremely restrictive, and there's a difference between simply managing portions, trying to eat things that are healthier, trying not to eat things that are extremely toxic and caustic to the body. It is what it is. Obviously the default way of eating, just eating fast food every single day, it's not working. There's obvious implications and there's obvious issues. A lot of these food places are marketed towards poor people. And I think in a lot of ways it's to keep poor people unhealthy, because if you keep poor people unhealthy, you keep them poor. Because health costs take up so much of a person's money. But again, he's going to sit here and try to argue that he's fighting for the poor. He's fighting for fat people. He's fighting for the downtrodden. But he isn't. He is fighting for those at the top. The fact is, for a lot of people that have reached a state of unhealthiness, a diet is the only way to help improve that. If you are not acknowledging that, or if you are discouraging people from pursuing health, you are a part of the problem. You are fighting for those at the top, period.
You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Yes, you can eat whatever you want, so long as it's in moderation. Is that what I said? I don't think that's what I said. What, are you gonna tell me there's something wrong with saying eat in moderation? Consciously moderating what you're eating is just another form of restriction. Well, that's not the harmful kind of restricting, though. No, it still is, because restricting leads to binging. You've got to be kidding. Nope. When you tell yourself you can't do something, you're just going to want to do it so much more, so...
Now, I always think that it's cringy when people say something like, you can have whatever you want as long as it's in moderation. Because at the end of the day, eating something like rat poison, even in moderation, is going to be a huge issue. I think it's a stupid argument. But it's equally stupid to say no, any restriction at all is a problem. So this would be, imagine if this logic is applied to something else. Something like sex, which we'll avoid, saying it just for the sake of YouTube. If I were to say, well, if you don't do that with anybody who you want, you are going to binge on it. Would that make sense to you? Do you see how crazy that is? Is it a smart thing to sleep with your boss? Is it a smart thing to sleep with your best friend's significant other? Is it a smart thing to do certain things, or should there be certain limits on our behavior and on what we do? Yeah, I think there's definitely some valid points on some restriction. And no, restriction is not automatically going to lead to binging. What leads to binging when it comes to eating is extreme restriction, cutting out entire food groups, cutting out really, really vital nutrients. That's going to lead to binging. But to apply this logic to something like seed oils, no. Nobody smells a cookie and thinks, this cookie is so canola-y. Nobody thinks that. Nobody craves seed oils because they're not food.
If your advice to a fat person on the internet is to eat less when they are not having a problem with overeating, you don't care about their health. You just are fat phobic. Also, when did they ask for your help? Did they? Maybe your advice is unwarranted, and maybe unwanted, and maybe not helpful, and maybe just hateful.
The thing about this type of logic is you can use it against him. Did I ask for your help, William? Did I ask for you to be saying these things? They always try to do this to silence people, but you can say it right back to them. I didn't ask for your help. I didn't ask for your takes. I didn't ask for you to be helping push people to their death. I didn't ask for you to help push poor people into eating foods that will make them sick. I didn't ask for any of that. As somebody who has struggled financially, as somebody who is morbidly obese, I did not ask for that whatsoever. So once again, you are one-sided as you so completely dismissed. You think everybody like me agrees with you. I don't, sweetheart. I don't. Now, the last thing I want to show is just for my own personal bitchitude. And I just want to point out, you know what? Let's play the clip, but I want you guys to ask yourselves, what's something you notice about his boyfriend?
I wrote a song about stretch marks and unconditional love, and it's inspired by my boyfriend, Chase. Hi.
The irony of pushing for fat acceptance so hard, and then of course, your boyfriend is thin, is not lost on me. It tickled me a bit. It made me laugh. And a lot of fat acceptance activists have thin partners. So it just goes to show that oftentimes they are completely full of shiitake mushrooms. They are completely hypocritical. They don't actually believe what they say. And they are fighting for people that they ultimately see as just beneath them in one way or another. He has to be the savior of the fatties because he's above you. And this type of stuff is cringe. It's awful. And like I said, I have no issue with him wanting to date somebody who's thin. I just find it ironic. Because I can assure you, if my whole work was about keeping people fat and having everybody gain as much weight as possible, the optics of dating somebody who's thin would not be lost on me. Just saying. With that, you guys, I like to close. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys again soon.